We had some
Yes, sir.
few technical difficulties on Sunday. That's why we're doing it this morning. Gonna be a great show. We got the wonderful Hallie Riddick. How's everybody doing? Been a good day for you so far? A little early, but that's how it goes. It's the first ever morning show for me. Had to get up before 10. No, I'm just playing. It wasn't that bad. We are live here in 1 minute. Stream resolution is good. It's gonna be a good day. Got a notification from my manager at work. I don't have to be at where I don't have to be at work until 1:15. I usually have to be there at 12. So that's nice. Get a little more time. I still got some things I gotta do anyways, so yep. Shout out to T Lanky here. Always blessing me with these wonderful beats. So again, let me give you a little background on Hallie. I met her in high school about 8 years ago. It's insane. She's an actress, performer, singer, songwriter, and she studied theater in school. She went to a school in New York, and but I'm gonna let her tell y'all mostly about that. So let's get her in here and get the show on the road. Yo.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. I feel like this light is like on my face.
Oh, that's where it should be. There we go.
There we go. It's better.
Good.
I'll just remain still this whole time.
Yeah. Well, how you doing, Hallie? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I'm
Thanks
good.
for
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for making the adjustment, doing the show in the morning due to
Of course.
technical difficulties. So, let's start off kind of where we left off on Sunday. You tell us just a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and your kind of background in Louisville.
Okay. Yeah. Hi. My name is Hallie. I am a theater artist and songwriter. I grew up in Louisville, grew up in the Highlands. My whole family is pretty much from Louisville. So it does really feel like my hometown. Yeah, I went to the Performing Arts School at Manual and eventually went on to Sarah Lawrence College, where I just graduated, and studied theater, politics, history there. And yeah, now I'm working as an apprentice for the National Theater Institute.
Nice. Well, that's cool. So, what first got you into? What first got you into theater and performing?
Well, I was always a pretty extra child. I think I just always wanted to be the center of attention. And my mom just put me in a lot of camps, like, pottery camp,
Nice.
crafting camp, sport, like whatever it was. And then she eventually put me in a theater camp.
Mm-hmm.
And we did like a shortened version of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh yeah.
And I got to play Mercutio. And of course I wanted Juliet, but I didn't get Juliet, and I ended up getting Mercutio, which I actually think is a lot cooler.
Oh.
And
Well, there you go.
got to die on stage, and it was really fun. And I got to like paint my own sword and have this sword fight and
Oh
have this
man.
dramatic death on stage. And I just thought, this is so cool. And I kept doing it, and I kept getting cast as characters that I never would have like thought I would be cast as. And it was actually really exciting to play a lot of people that were outside of myself. So
Yeah.
it was fun.
How old were you at that point?
I don't know. I was probably about, I want to say like 8 or 9. I was young.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. It's probably younger than that. I don't know. I have a terrible memory. It was
Yeah.
probably like 8 or 9. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you when you I guess so you've been performing and you get to we're in high school at YPass and you're doing theater there, but you also are you begin when did you get into playwriting? Because I know you started doing that, and I just remember some of that in high school. But was that like a class, or did you just kind of start
Yeah,
doing?
I took playwriting with Brian Hines in high school. I took 2 years, I think, of playwriting there. And, I'm sure if my peers and my teachers were on this call, they'd be like, it wasn't great. They would probably be like, it was a little rough.
I mean, I'm sure that's
Not that I'm like award winning now, but it was a little rough.
yeah. Well, if
Um,
you're first getting started, I'm sure that's with anything.
yeah, I mean, I never thought like I could actually. I mean, I think it's really like writing comes with all this like weight to it. Like the idea of being a writer, it feels like so like monumental. So,
Uh,
now even now I'm still struggling with like being like, oh yeah, I could do that. I could do that
mm-hmm.
as a thing in my life. I still sort of write it off sometimes as like, oh, it's just, I don't, it doesn't have to be that serious, even though, maybe it's something I'm really passionate about. So
Yeah. So you think
I think being saying you're a writer comes with a lot of weight.
do you think you put too much pressure on yourself?
Um, in general, yes. I mean, I have pretty high expectations of myself and the work I create.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
So sometimes that can sort of limit you. And I think I'm learning more and more to sort of like allow for the time for things to not be where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to sort of wait in the unknown of what something
Oh yeah,
is before
for
you
sure.
know what it is.
So yeah. So what when you I don't know, do you kind of tell okay, when writing a play, what are some of the biggest thing like what is the number one thing you would think about like when you sit down and you're like, all right, I'm gonna write this play? Would you say like is it the cat who you're gonna cat? Well, I guess that's not the casting would be more the director, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really write with certain people in mind. I
Yeah.
just sort
Okay.
of
Okay.
I think a lot about music. I mean, all of my plays have music in them, and music is sort of where I start. And
Huh.
I sort of allow myself to work from the subconscious and work from impulse. And I don't set out to write. I don't say like, okay, I'm going to write about this, this, and this. I sort of allow. I read a lot. I read a lot of writers that um, I find really exciting and inspiring. And, I'll read for a while and then just sort of start writing right after I finish reading
Huh.
and sort of work from there. So I read a lot of poetry, a lot of novels, and I read a lot of Toni Morrison. So, I just sort of read for a while, and I think using other people's work as a sort of jumping off point, or just trying to put your headspace in somewhere else besides yourself and what am I going to write, putting
Right.
pressure on yourself allows me to sort of like not to sort of be freer in what I'm doing a little bit, I think.
Huh.
um yeah, and that was sort of taught to me by a woman named Sybil Kempson. I was a professor at Sarah Lawrence, and we had to write our own syllabi for each other. Like we had to write our own like total syllabus for the semester, and what we wanted to read and free associate from. So that's
Huh.
sort of where I learned that.
Neat. So, who are some of these poets and novelists that I saw? You said you read a lot of Toni Morrison, but who are some of the?
Yeah, Toni Morrison is, I mean, obviously, Toni Morrison's incredible. I read Mary Oliver is a poet I really love. My friend Emily got me into Mary Oliver. Um, Charles Bukowski, if I say his last name, is someone who I'm very interested by. Who else? I mean, there's just like so many. There's so many people. Elizabeth Bishop is another writer that I look up to. There's really a ton, but those are the ones I can think of at the moment.
Who's your favorite?
Author?
Yeah.
Oh, I really couldn't say. I mean, I guess Toni Morrison would be one of my favorite authors, but
Hmm.
favorite poet, definitely Mary Oliver, I guess. I guess I could
Mary
say.
Oliver.
Mary Oliver.
Cool. So that's an interesting process. I mean, I have no idea what it takes to, like, what goes into writing a play, but now I know a little more. So tell me,
I mean,
so
that's not everyone's, but
yeah,
that's
well,
just,
but
you
it's,
know.
it's interesting how you read other people's work and then you get started on your own to kind of put yourself in a different headspace besides your own. That's
Yeah.
that's smart. That makes sense. So this new play you were well, it's I guess you wrote it a while ago. Your play Flush. Tell us
Yes.
about that and what's going on with that. What and when did it first come about? When did you write that?
Well, I attended the National Theater Institute, which is where I am now, in Connecticut. And I did the advanced directing program here. So I was a director here at NTI.
Okay.
And we all were required to take playwriting. And I was sort of very intimidated by it. I hadn't really written anything, for theater, in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I had written a lot while I was at Sarah Lawrence, but very different structures, very different forms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's a little intimidated by it, but we got different prompts each week. We had to work within different basically like structures, different forms of writing. So one week you had to write realism, one week you had to write like the opening anthem to a musical. It just
Huh.
sort of changed
That's
every
pretty
week.
cool.
You had a prompt. And I wrote this play off of the anthem assignment. So I wrote a sort of chant anthem for these three girls who sort of uh, perform rituals in the woods and derived a lot of power from water, or they thought they did. And so I wrote this chant, and I just got super into it. And we had to choose one prompt to sort of finish out. So I chose that prompt, and you had to write like basically a one act play, so like a 30-page play, and they would go through the plays and choose which ones they wanted to do a reading for. And mine got a reading, and so we got to like develop the music. There's a lot of music in it and
Yeah.
chants, and so that's sort of where it started. And the story sort of follows four girls who in each of their lives are grieving for something or about something or over something, and they go to the woods to sort of try and rid themselves of this grief through magic and spells and ritual and song. And they
Huh.
eventually sort of have to take a different path. And after taking that path, realize that there is really no way to rid yourself of grief that easily, and some things stay with you forever. So that's sort of where it's at. It had a reading at Sarah Lawrence. I returned to Sarah Lawrence for my senior year after that semester, and I had a reading of this piece in the spring. And I had amazing music directors, Megan Bonds and SD, and they both helped me to sort of develop the music. And now it is having a virtual production. I'm sort of returning as an alum playwright, and a grad student, Amanda Card, is directing it this time. And it's
Huh.
pretty, I saw a run last night, and it's pretty incredible what they've done online for this piece. They've really like, you think like online theater whew, you're kind of like,
Yeah, I can imagine.
yikes,
Yeah.
Um, and in some ways, it's kind of like, oh, like I would much rather us be in person and doing the thing, but they've really taken every opportunity they can that's presented to them and like used the form to its best. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really excited by that. So yeah, that's opening Friday. I'm very excited. Um, yeah, so that's where that play is.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, um, so you tell us a little bit about your experience at Sarah Lawrence in New York, and what was that like living there, being there? Just
Yeah.
tell us about that in general.
Um, well, Sarah Lawrence is above the city, so it's about 40 minutes out of Grand Central on train. So it's really close, but it's also kind of far. Like it's out of the city, which is nice. I liked that. I liked that I wasn't in the city all the time, but throughout my time at Sarah Lawrence, I got to see a lot of work in the city, interned at places in the city. Um, and a lot of my friends moved to the city after graduating, and so I ended up having developing a real community in New York after my graduation.
Yeah,
So that's really lovely. Sarah Lawrence was, I mean, it was amazing. I learned a lot outside of theater, which I thought for me was the right choice. I came out sort of more aware of myself and more well rounded, I think. I learned a lot about, at Sarah Lawrence, there's no requirements on what you take. So you can really do what you want in a lot of ways. And I
that's very
took
nice.
dance and theater and sound design and directing and writing. And I took women's history and, public policy. I took all different sorts of history, really, a lot of classes on literature. Um, and Sarah Lawrence is also, you don't have to do finals. So you do like these big projects, what they call conference projects. And a lot of the time I did creative work for my, academic courses. So I would,
That's cool.
so for my women's history class, I wrote an episode, like a spec script for the Mary Tyler Moore Show. That was sort of my project, and did a lot of research on the women's movement. So yeah, I sort of ended up coming out like with a lot of different um, pieces of myself that I felt like were helpful and helpful in creating theater as well. So,
Yeah,
and Sarah Lawrence is all about new work, creating new work, collaboration, a lot of generated work. Um, so that was really amazing, and I've met some amazing mentors and professors throughout my time there as well. So I'm very lucky to have gone
yeah,
to Sarah Lawrence.
yeah. That seems like it's a, it, isn't it? How it's not a very big school, is it?
No, it's like 1,400 students.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
so it
it's
was smaller than our high school,
yeah, wow, yeah.
which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
What so it sounds like you enjoyed it very much going there. That is pretty cool that you were able to, first of all, it's nice that you didn't have finals, and but you could,
Well, you had like 25-page, 30
yeah,
page papers to do instead.
geez,
Yeah.
25 pages. Wow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've written so many papers. 25 pages, 26 pages. It's
Oh my
crazy.
God, that's insane.
But
But
writing, I mean, you come out a better writer than you were before. That's for sure.
yeah, that's true. Were those for like your playwriting classes, or were those just for like all your?
No, those for like, um, those were for, academic courses really. Theater, final projects are a little bit different, and dance final projects are different. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those were for, sometimes I would choose to do a paper. A lot of the time I would do paper. I took like a Enlightenment literature course that surrounded the work of Samuel Johnson, and I ended up coming in and like being like, I want to do theater, I want to study plays from this period. So I ended up doing a lot about. I kind of chose a specific subject from the plays that I really found interesting. I talked about male aggression within the pieces of theater that I was reading, and That was a paper I wrote. So it wasn't always like a creative work, but it was sort of surrounding I got to combine my interests a little bit, which was nice.
Huh. Yeah, that's just pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
So what plays while you attended Sarah Lawrence? What plays did you perform in there for at the school, or did you write any plays besides? Well, I know you said you wrote Flush at the National Theater Institute, but did you direct or were you in any plays at Sarah Lawrence?
Yeah, I acted a lot when I first got to Sarah Lawrence. I was really acting quite a lot. I was in like Steel Magnolias, which was
I
fun.
remember you telling me about that
Yeah,
name.
I was like Truvy, so I was like Dolly Parton's character in Steel Magnolias, which was really fun. I got to be in a lot of stuff. It was kind of awesome. I was in a new play by a grad student. That was my first piece, and it was sort of about another universe. And so we were playing sort of these beings from another universe that vibrated on a higher level of self-awareness and spirituality. It was like amazing. It was like an amazing experience. So that was like my first thing that I did.
That's
Um,
pretty cool.
Sarah Lawrence, yeah. And then I was in a play by Aaron Courtney, who's an amazing playwright, another sort of inspiration for me. And I was in a play called I Will Be Gone, and I played Penelope in that. She's sort of the young lead in that play, and that was really incredible. I've got to be in works by Carol Churchill, so I was in Top Girls by Carol Churchill. So a lot of different stuff. I was in a musical. I was in Company, which was
Oh,
fun.
that's cool.
So done a lot of different things performance wise. Directing wise, I really didn't direct a ton until I went to the National Theater Institute. That's where I really got the bulk of my directing experience, like during my college career. I directed a little bit at Sarah Lawrence, readings and small things, small festivals, but I wasn't directing like big productions.
Hmm.
Um, so that's sort of like where I got the bulk of my experience. Um, so directing wise, that was kind of it. But when I came back for my senior year, I was a part of a group called Women's Naked Shakespeare, which is a group for women, femmes, and non-binary folks to sort of come together and like make a show, but also be just like a group of support for one another.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was in that since my freshman year, which was awesome. And I got to, sort of bond with a lot of different people, a lot of different artists. And then at the end of the semester, we did a show. And so I was doing that I was in Taming of the Shrew my freshman year, and then I was posthumous in Cymbeline my second year. Um, and then my senior year, I was director of the group. So I was sort of
Oh, that's
leading the
cool.
group and yeah, different, you know, bonding things and just hanging out, but also trying to lead us eventually towards a production. And we were going to do 12th Night inspired by sort of the lives of Nova Scotia fishermen and vacationers, which was going to be super fun. But, COVID happened. So we got to do like a little photo shoot on the Hudson, which was
Mm,
super fun.
I
And so at
bet.
least we got that. And yeah, it was great. But that's sort of the directing experience side of it all. And at the National Theater Institute, I directed everything from, like I was doing Thornton Wilder and Sarah Rule and, um, Carol Churchill. I directed Carol Churchill, did a lot of different, every week was a different piece of a play. So it was
Okay.
really quite amazing. Yeah, so that's sort of where that came in. And then writing didn't really come in for me until NTI, National Theater Institute, as well. So I was doing writing here, and then I sort of got um, excited by it. And I came back for my senior year and took a course with Sybil Kimpson, who I mentioned before, and she sort of changed my life. And now I'm sort of, yeah, striving to create more and more, even in
Hmm.
this crazy time. So I wrote some new pieces when I was in her class, and I'm sort of attempting to develop at the moment, and do more work on. So
Well,
that's sort of where it's
that's
at.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That's when you said you got to take a photo shoot, do a photo shoot on the Hudson. Were y'all like on a boat on the Hudson, or
No,
where?
we were in this sort of like there's this place that does a lot of research for on the Hudson,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
for whatever. And so they have a partnership with Sarah Lawrence, and we headed down there and sort of got to take photos in the water and have like big waders on, and sort of mess around. And it was really, I mean, it was really cold at that time,
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
so we were all like, kind of freezing. But it was really fun. Yeah, we got to do that, and everyone sort of got to take pictures of their characters, and we had made these like homemade sort of beards out of yarn, and everyone was wearing their fisherman's beard, and it's great.
That's pretty
So
cool.
yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, so you're this teacher you're talking about, what's her name is Sybil Kimson, you said?
Hmm.
And she teaches at NTI? Or
No, she teaches at Sarah
okay,
Lawrence.
okay, okay.
Sarah Lawrence, yeah.
So is she like, does she have any, is she, well, does she have any like big credits? Or I know you said you obviously think very highly of her. I was just curious if,
Yeah, I mean, she's done a lot of work in New York,
yeah.
and around the world, like internationally. She's done a lot of work. She's a writer, and she also has a theater company of her own where they create work as sort of like an ensemble. And
Hmm.
um, so I can speak more to her as a teacher than I can anything else. But she's done a lot. I mean, she's done a lot of incredible work. I can't even. I mean, there's probably too much. If you want to know more,
Yeah.
Google her.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so she would be on Google, you think? Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty dope. Huh. Cool. So, um, now, so you graduated, and man, I had a question I was gonna ask you about. Oh yeah. Okay. So you after well recently, what you were telling me the other day. So with your play Flush that you wrote, you're now you're at NTI there. You told me that you're getting paid, right? So they paid you for the rights to your play.
Well, when you give a play, you when your play's done, technically they have to pay rights on it. I mean, it's that's just kind of how things work in the world. But
Yeah, but you're making
yeah,
money. You're making money off your craft, right?
I mean, not. I don't want to say that. I wouldn't say I'm quote making money. I mean,
Well, you made some
it's
money.
yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not like I'm like yeah. I mean, I guess in a way,
Well, so
yes. Yeah,
you got paid. You got paid for your work, right?
yeah,
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 that's pretty cool. That's definitely.
yeah.
I remember we were talking about that the other day. That's definitely a very big. Uh, it can be like a big moment, like a proud moment. It's definitely. You've obviously worked very hard in theater and writing your whole life, so that's definitely a big accomplishment, I would say. So that's pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. So, and that play is opening this Friday, correct? Flush.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
And it can be seen online, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. It can be seen online. I mean, if people want to see it,
Well, what's the is
link,
it what would
the
be
link is in my bio.
on your Instagram bio?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, no pressure, everyone. But
Oh, yeah, okay, I got it. Okay. Oh, you got to buy tickets. Okay, okay.
I mean, it's free.
Oh, okay. You just got to go
You all
through
don't
the
have to pay anything.
yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
exciting.
yeah, super exciting. How's it looking? Have you sat you said you've been to some runs, right? So some runs of the
Yeah,
show.
they've done some really beautiful work. Yeah, really beautiful work. So I'm very honored by the work that they've been doing with the play. Yeah, did an amazing job.
Is there some is there a lot of good music in it? Like you said you put a lot of music in your plays?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote music, and I had a lot of people, as I mentioned before, Esty and Megan Bonds. They sort of helped me develop this music, and
Yeah.
it's I'm very grateful to them for that. It's a lot of sort of rhythmic chants and folk music, and that's sort of what forms I worked in for the play. So
Yeah.
yeah, music is a big part of it.
Sweet. Okay, so well, no. Okay, during your time at Sarah Lawrence, you traveled to Russia, correct?
Yeah, that was before I came to the National Theater Institute. I
Yeah.
went to, yeah, I would travel to Russia, studied acting in Russia. at the Moscow Art Theater.
And wasn't that you went like it was a whole year, wasn't it? You went
No,
like
it's a semester. It's a semester.
oh,
Hmm.
okay. What was that like 3, 4 months? I guess 3 months, 3.5.
Um, yeah, it was, well, I guess it was like 3 months, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like studying theater in at Russia?
It was incredible. I mean, the Russian theater is sort of like, you know, actors for the Russian theater, like they're celebrities. So theater was really highly respected there, which is an experience I haven't had
Yeah,
in
I can.
America,
Right. Yeah.
which is really nice. And the work is pretty, you know, astounding. I mean, it's pretty a lot of spectacle. There's a lot of work in spectacle, and spectacle is a big part of the theater there. So it was just big and beautiful, and there's something about Russian theater, the emotion that they bring to it, the passion, the drive is just sort of unreal. I've never seen anything like it. So it was incredible to see theater there and to study there as well. I studied movement there. I was doing sort of the acrobatic work, stuff like that, and then I was also doing
Hmm.
ballet, which was fun, which was crazy, and traditional Russian dance. So it's just a lot of like stomping. It's like very cool. It's like yeah, it was very cool. And then I did work. We did a lot of work with Chekhov. So a lot of work with Chekhov, and we ended up doing
What is
Three
that?
Sisters.
What is Chekhov?
Chekhov is a playwright.
Oh.
Chekhov is a playwright. Yeah, from a while back,
Hmm.
and very famous Russian playwright. A lot of his work is also, I mean, it's done around the world. It's a very famous playwright. And so we ended up doing a lot of Chekhov, and I did Three Sisters. Um, Chekhov's Three Sisters. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, I know. I've heard of that, the Three Sisters from him.
yeah, Three Sisters, Uncle Vanya. Those are sequel. Yeah. So it's great. It's great.
There we go.
Awesome.
Chekhov. Okay, cool. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that's super neat. Was it so this was like was it a do you remember if it was like a spring or fall semester? Was it a fall semester that you went?
I went in the fall.
Yeah.
I went into the fall.
And
Hmm.
was it like what was the weather like in Russia? Like was it cold at that time? Like
Yeah, it was cold. I mean, it was
I bet.
cold. I mean, it was warm when we got there, but
Yeah,
it gets pretty cold in Russia. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What's the city like there? Is it like crowded
It's
or is it
cool.
similar? Is it similar to New York in a way? Or like
No, it's not similar to New York. But it was, I mean, it's more spread out. Russia's just massive. So Moscow, I was in the center of Moscow, so I can't really speak to, um, you know, the landscape or the feeling of Russia in general, or even Moscow in general. I was really in the city center, so it was a lot of it's where tourists go, and I was right by Red Square, so a sort of very famous spot in Russia. The Moscow Art Theater is literally right by Red Square, so I was in a sort of very um, touristy area. But I mean, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And then I went outside of the city center to do, I would go to museums and
mhm.
um, went to a lot of museums, went to markets outside of the city. So, open air markets where you sort of find like, old medals, Russian medals, and you find nesting dolls and stuff like that. It was really fun. So I went there, and yeah. So I mean, I explored a little bit. We also took a trip to St. Petersburg, so I saw a lot of St. Petersburg and saw some shows there, and it was absolutely beautiful. Very different, I think, than Moscow. Um, so not really at all like not really at all like New York. Very different, but beautiful in its own way.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Hmm.
pretty cool. And you also, yeah, you spent a couple months there. That's pretty cool. Bet that was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
So after that, you get back. You kind of, I guess, when you got back, you had like a little bit over a year left at Sarah Lawrence, a year or so, and
Mhm.
just about something like that. And so you finished up at Sarah Lawrence, and then I guess you graduated during COVID, which sucks because I guess y'all didn't really get an actual graduation.
Yeah, graduated on a computer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
better than nothing, I guess. But so what did you do after you graduated? I know you were back home for a little bit, but what did.
Yeah, I like stayed in Louisville and hung out, and I waited tables, and um, I was just sort of taking time. It was a weird end of this my senior year, and didn't really know what I was going to do next. And yeah, I didn't really know where I was going,
Mm-hmm.
because everything was sort of shut down, which I think a lot of people are experiencing right now. Sort of waiting game a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I got a job here as an apprentice at the National Theater Institute, and I moved up here at the end of August and started working, and very grateful to be here, and to have this job and to be around, theater that's happening in person and in a safe way. Um, yeah, it's been awesome. And I mean, the students here are just absolutely incredible. So it's
Yeah.
amazing to watch them work and to support them in that work,
Definitely.
especially since I had had that experience and I know what it's like to be here and to be a student and how big it feels. And so I want to, you know, give them a great experience.
Definitely.
So that's sort of what I've been working to do while I'm here to the best of my ability.
That's good.
Um, yeah, and doing my own stuff on the side, and yeah, so it's been great.
Well,
Really been
good.
great.
That's awesome. Where were you waiting tables in Louisville?
I was working at the cafe, restaurant called the Cafe, kind of downtown, and yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Waiting tables. It's like,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do what you got to do. So you've talked about your music and incorporating music into your plays, and you even start writing your plays. You start with the music. So I know that you kind of have been writing songs and playing guitar ever. I guess I'm not sure how old you were when you first started, but I know ever since I knew you, you've been doing that. So talk a little bit about that. You play guitar and write songs. How long you been doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing guitar very basically
Yeah.
since I was young. I mean, I'm not anywhere, I'm not super impressive at it. But I played guitar for a long time, and I played other people's songs, played just whatever I wanted to learn. That was
Hmm.
simple enough. And I really didn't start writing music once again until I came to the National Theater Institute. I feel like this is an ad for the National Theater Institute. I'm really sorry. It's true. I had never written a song until I came here, and I took class with Scott Murphy, and we had to write songs on the piano. And I would just sort of pluck out a few chords on the piano, and create songs. And I really loved doing it. I was like, this is awesome. And so as soon as I started doing that, I just kept going. And I continued to take songwriting with at Sarah Lawrence with Stu Stewart. And yeah, I mean, it's just sort of been a part of. I just really love doing it. I have a friend here who I write songs with as well, so
Hmm.
I love collaborating with other people and writing stuff. And I love it when people give me, chords or a chord progression or notes or whatever, and I sort of create a melody on top. It's really fun. Um, so it's been awesome. So still figuring it all out, really, especially writing and songwriting and all of that. Still really finding my way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. It's been really fun.
So do you ever when you write music for your plays, do you like the chant you wrote? You wrote that specifically for the play, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first part of the play that I had
Yeah.
written.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever like a song that you written a while ago, like just for your voice and guitar? Have you ever put one of those originals into a play?
No, I usually songs that are sort of standalone or standalone,
Hmm.
and I usually write when I'm writing in the midst of writing something like a play. I sort of write. Um, I guess it's sort of just a different process. It's a different kind of writing for me, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like not the same as writing for a standalone song.
Hmm.
For some reason. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just the language is different and the structure of the song is usually different.
Do you?
Um,
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Do you perform? Have you performed anywhere, like at any coffee shops or any place like that in New York?
I mean, when I was younger, I used to do that.
Hmm.
I haven't really, no, I mean, I haven't. I performed on campus and like stuff around school, but no, I never really like haven't. I only taken my stuff like to the public yet. Yeah, like I haven't done that. But it would be fun. It'd
Yeah,
be really
definitely.
fun. I'd definitely be open to it eventually, but um, it's not really an option at the moment. So
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Concerts are not the biggest.
yeah,
Uh,
no, I don't think I don't think that would be a good choice. So maybe one day
yeah.
I'll do
S-
that. Yeah,
Sometime in 2021, hopefully, maybe 2022.
yeah.
Can you
At some
imagine?
point, it'll happen eventually.
I hope so. So,
Eventually, yeah.
so now that you spent 4 years in New York, and
Hmm.
you grew up here in Louisville. What is kind of see if you can like compare the creative scene like in general in New York versus Louisville.
I mean, I don't really know if they're comparable. I think they're just really different. Um, they're just different scenes. I think New York is just so vast, so big.
Yep.
Um, so it's just a different thing, just a different animal. I think Louisville has some really beautiful artists and creators, and I think it's just a different vibe. I mean, I think the community is maybe more, a smaller and closer, maybe in a way,
Yep.
which is I think really lovely, and I think Louisville has a lot of has a really good foundation, has a lot of potential. And I would love to see Louisville. I think Louisville has pretty big institutions that make work. Actors Theater being one of them is an
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing place. But it would also be great to see more community driven places of art and theater and work in general. And I think that those are starting to happen. And so it would be great to see more of that eventually in the coming years.
Yeah. That reminds me. What about do you ever uh hear anything more from Walden Theater?
Yeah, Walden is, I think it's now called Commonwealth Theater. But it's, yeah, they're still doing it. And yeah, Walden or Commonwealth Theater was a big part of my, time in Louisville,
Yeah.
middle school and high school. So I did that on top of youth performing arts school. And I had a lot of friends who did that along with me and met a lot of amazing people through that. So yeah, Walden or the Commonwealth Theater Center is still going. Um,
What
so
it?
I haven't, I don't, I'm sure they're doing some cool stuff.
Yeah. What did you
Yeah.
do? What did you do there exactly? Was it just like rehearsal and plays, or you know?
Yeah. I mean, I took like improv there, took acting, took, scene studies and clowning and movement and voice.
Mm.
I did a lot of different stuff. What I sort of associate with my time there is Shakespeare. I did a lot of Shakespeare um, at Walden. So yeah, I would think of the bulk of my Shakespeare training I really got from, before I went to college or anything, was from Walden. I did a lot of Shakespeare. I did Richard II, Henry IV, part one and two. Did, just, it was a lot of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Henry VI, did Henry VI
It's a
there
lot
as
of
well.
Henrys. Yeah.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet. Did Romeo and Juliet there. Yeah, just like a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, I think I mainly associate my time there with Shakespeare. Of course, they do more than that, but my experience, I really think about Shakespeare.
I remember that one play I went and saw there. I guess it was. I think it was like our beginning senior year of high school, and it was like Metamorphosis or something like that, about
Yeah,
this like dude
it
who
was Kafka's
turns in. Yeah, yeah,
Metamorphosis.
yeah. It was
Yeah, and Kafka wrote
very
a
interesting.
story about a guy turning into a bug, essentially. And the story's about a lot more than that, but on the surface, yes, it's a guy turning into a bug, and I played the mind of the bug. There's like a new adaptation. It was a new adaptation that someone had written, and I forgot the writer's name. I'm sorry to whoever's out there that I'm forgetting your name, but
It was interesting for sure.
I played the mind of the bug.
Hmm.
It was pretty fun. It's pretty great. It was pretty crazy. Everyone in my family who had seen that, they were like, "Oh, do you remember that one where the guy turned into the bug?" And it was gross. It was like it was a grotesque
Yeah, I
show, but
remember
that's
it
sort of the
was.
point.
It was definitely very interesting, but it was
Yeah,
cool. I liked it. I remember. I'd forgotten about that. It was 4 years ago. It's crazy.
yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Now, what about? Were you ever involved with anything in actors theater? I know you mentioned it a little bit, but
No, I've never. I've seen shows there, but
okay.
no, never done anything there.
I don't think I've ever. Is that do they have their own theater? It's at like the actors theater.
Yeah, they have
Okay,
their own
okay. I
space.
didn't know
Yeah,
if it.
downtown.
Okay, I knew it was
Hmm.
downtown. I don't think I've ever been there. I've been I've
Okay.
been I've been to like the Palace and like the Brown Theater, but I don't think I've ever been to Actors Theater. But I know people talk
Yeah.
about how great it is. The people get like tickets to their shows and or, like their seat. They'll have like season tickets and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been. I should go. I don't know if they're probably not doing shows right now, but probably not.
I'm sure they're doing online work and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
That's okay. So besides, we talked about you. We went to Russia. What about where else have you taken your talents with acting and performing in the world, if you have, or like around the country?
Um, Taken my talents. I've interned in Chicago. I interned in Philadelphia. Different kind of talent that I was taking there.
Hmm.
A lot of organizational talent and stuff like that. But that was great. That was pretty cool. I worked. I've worked in Edinburgh a little bit, not like in a but I've gone to the festival there, and I assistant directed a show that went to Edinburgh, and
What was the
that was really
festival?
exciting.
What was
Huh?
it? What was the festival called?
It's the Edinburgh Fringe. It's a really
Edinburgh
big
Fringe.
fringe festival. It takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland. Um, and I had gone there in high school, actually. I was really lucky to have gone to Edinburgh in high school and performed there, and with the Youth Performing Arts School. And yeah, so I got to like return to the festival, and that was amazing. Um, so that was something I assistant directed on, and I just was lucky enough to go with them for a week or so to the festival and sort of see all the new work that was there, and
Hmm.
meet some amazing artists. So that was great. Yeah, and I've interned in Chicago, and I interned in Philly, and um, those both cities are amazing, and I've loved both of them. And then I really have interned mainly in New York, um, and that's pretty much where I've been. Yeah, that's pretty much where I've taken it. Um, Met a lot of amazing people in each place, and done very different work in each place. So it's all been sort of crazy, but
Yeah,
good.
definitely. That's cool. So, what's I was gonna ask like what I guess being all these different places around the world and in the country, what have you realized about? Well, I guess we talked about it a little bit comparing New York and Louisville, but what do you see in the Louisville creative scene that's like that I guess really stands out? When I say creative, I mean like in general with music, with you know performing anything. Like what are some things that stand out to you?
I guess just like tight bonds between artists and always I feel like everyone's always willing to give their time, give their effort and time, and just extremely generous people.
Hmm.
Um, People are always, I feel, willing to help, um, and I think that's pretty. Yeah, I think that's pretty beautiful. I mean, I think it's easy to not easy, but it's. Um, I think that people find a lot of community in that way. Like people are always willing to give their time. And
Hmm.
from my experience, I can only speak to my experience, but I felt that people have been willing to give me their time and to help me if they can. Um,
Oh,
and I was also really lucky to grow up, you know, with a community of artists around me, like young artists who were my age who were also striving for something similar. And so I think I also have sort of that community is sort of inherent to me, and I know a lot of other people maybe um, didn't get that or haven't discovered that community yet. So I hope that Louisville just keeps growing and keeps building places of sharing and generosity. I hope there's places that keep coming up, communities that keep popping up. Um, yeah.
cool. That's interesting that you say talking about tight bonds and good relationships with different artists because I've had a lot of like perform or recording artists on the show, and we talk about like from the a lot of the business side of the music scene here in Louisville, and it's just there's just not a whole lot of good. The music business here in Louisville is not you know is not the best. The talent is awesome, but the music business here is just not the best. And we've talked about
Yeah.
a lot of artists that are coming up out of here, recording artists that
Hmm.
kind of show not how do I want to say it, that I've said it before. Like there's more hate here in Louisville than there is love for in terms of recording artists for each other, like having for each other. Like people just like nickel and diamond and like, well, no, I'm not gonna work with you because just a lot of petty stuff towards each other, and then on top of that, the business side is just not where it should be in order for Louisville to, if Louisville wants to become like a center of, I guess you could say like a hub, someplace like Atlanta or New York. That first of all, that would be a while, but the music business has to get better, and it's got to be more genuine, and it's got to improve here.
Mm.
But that's interesting because from what I see, there's more hate here in Louisville than love towards recording artists. But that's interesting. So it seems a little different for your experience in with
I
that.
mean, I can't say that, I haven't made, I've been really out of Louisville ever since I was in high school, and returning to Louisville was really after the pandemic hit,
Right.
was really the longest span of time that I had spent in Louisville. So, I'm sure there are people who could speak more to the
Hmm.
experience of being an artist, especially a theater artist in Louisville, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it has its own specific struggles. But I guess from what I've seen, I do think that I do think that there is a certain amount of generosity that is inherent, and
That's good.
I, that doesn't always mean that things are great or there's a lot of opportunity, because I'm sure there's a sort of need for there's we need more opportunities, I'm sure, for artists in Louisville,
Hmm.
um, but I don't think that I don't think that that comes from people not wanting to be together and make work. I just think it comes from what it is. So, I'm sure that there's someone, there are people, artists, Louisville artists who can speak more to that. But that's what I see when I go home.
Interesting.
So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's Louisville an interesting place. There's a lot of good art coming from here, I will say.
Yeah, I think so too.
What the heck? Oh my God. All right. So last kind of big question. It's tying into this again. In 5 years, even 10 years, where do you think you would see Louisville's creative scene?
Well, I think I kind of already touched on that, trying to build more communities, more community-driven work.
Yeah.
And I would hope that that's sort of where Louisville is. That's my hope for Louisville, and that's really all I can speak to. I mean, I don't. I would hope that as Louisville grows, that there's just more opportunity for Louisville artists in general, no matter the art. I would hope that that's the case. And it's hard right now because, a lot of that is on hold. And so really, I hope that things can be back again to the way they were and get better and grow. Yeah, that's
definitely
really what I hope for.
Cool. Yeah, it definitely took a big hit the last couple of months, obviously.
Yeah.
From COVID. All right. Well, sweet, Hallie. That's pretty awesome. So I've got some little segment here I like to call the Lush Lockdown. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds, totally opinion based. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. I'm gonna ask you some questions pertaining to Louisville, but it's totally opinion based. So the first question is: you're in Louisville, you got $10 in your pocket. Where are you going to eat? You got 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh, Cane's.
5 seconds. Nice. Cane,
know.
the chicken place? Raising Cane's?
Yeah, I love Cane's.
Really?
They don't have it here in the northern parts.
That's interesting. All right, let me get that. I didn't know you liked Cane's. I thought you were kind of anti-fast food. I guess it's.
I mean, I don't love fast food, but if I have $10 in my pocket,
That's true.
Then you're kind of limiting me a little bit.
True. You answered the question truthfully. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. All right, it's Louisville. It's a Friday night. You're going out with your friends.
Okay.
Where are you going? You got 10 seconds.
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know any of the hip spots. I think there's a place called Odeon Bar or something like that. Have you ever heard of that?
I
think it's called Odeon Bar.
Odeon Bar. Where is it?
I don't remember. It was in Germantown or something, but I went there with a friend once and it was really beautiful. It was really chill. And they had a fireplace, I think, and the lights were very warm and someplace like that. And I think that's what it was called. It was really beautiful and cool, and I think they do live music there and stuff, so it would be cool to be there for
really
that. Just someplace very chill, not a club or anything, just someplace very where you could talk and hang out and have a drink.
That's cool. Yeah, I've never been, but I think I have heard of it. I have to check it out.
It's beautiful. When I was there, it was really beautiful. It's a cool place.
Neat. You ever been to that place? I think it's Agave and Rye. I think we talked about it before. Yeah, that's more of a restaurant, but that's a pretty cool place. I was really impressed.
That was fun.
The first time I went there. They kind of have a really cool outdoor setup. I just thought that I haven't been there in a while. I went there a bunch in the summer, but that was a pretty nice place.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last question, Hallie.
Okay.
Someone gives you some free tickets to the Louisville Bats game. Are you going?
Yes.
Yes. Good answer. Yeah, why? You like, are you a baseball fan?
Well,
Or?
I went to the bats when I was young,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's just fun, just fun. I mean, I remember the mascot used to scare the crap out of
Oh
me.
yeah.
But
He's kind of weird looking.
I love, yeah, I mean, it's fun to go to baseball games and
Yeah.
get the food and hang
Exactly.
out. And,
Exactly. That's why I go for the stadium food. I see
yeah.
your New York Yankees hat. You been to a Yankees game at all?
I've never been to one. I would love to go.
I'm sure it would be awesome.
I'm sort of a fake fan, but I would love to go to a Yankees game. So
That
if
would
anyone
be
out there
fun.
has a hookup
Yeah.
to a Yankees game,
I'm sure those
that'd be
tickets are
fun.
not cheap, unless they're
Yeah.
playing somebody that's not very good. But
Yeah, I've spent a lot of my money on theater tickets, not Yankees tickets, but one day.
where are the shows in New York mostly? The theaters that you go to, like where? What are
I
the?
mean, all over.
Yeah.
I can't.
What are some of
It's
the
all
big?
over.
What are some of the big ones that you went to, or you know?
I mean, I've gone to Broadway productions. You know, went to Hadestown, went to Slave Play. Um, but I don't really go to a lot of Broadway stuff, mainly because it's really expensive.
Mm,
I can't afford the tickets, but um, I go to a lot of more, downtown artists. A lot of that work and a lot of the work of my friends in sort of scrappier theaters. Um, so that's sort of where I mainly go. But I've been to places, I've been to a lot of different theaters, work at the Public and
mm-hmm.
big names like that. But it sort of
Yeah.
varies on. I've went to a lot of work at NYU Skirball this past year, so I saw a lot of, um, you know, more experimental work, I guess you could say. Um, yeah, all over the place. I think it's great to go to see many different forms, and um, I love to just kind of see it all. So
See it all. Well, that's good.
yeah,
You've been to Carnegie Hall, haven't you? That's not
yeah,
really for
I've gone
play.
to Carnegie Hall. I saw a cello concert at Carnegie Hall. Someone gave me tickets to that as a birthday gift, and it was really. I mean, I love the cello. I'm a big fan of the cello in general. It's an instrument. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. I would love to
Hmm.
play it. And yeah, so someone got me those for my birthday once. Hmm.
That's pretty
Yeah,
neat.
it was really cool.
Yeah, I bet. That's a very famous hall. That's awesome. Well, Hallie, we're coming up on our 1 hour mark. Did you have anything else you'd like to add? It's been a great interview with you. Good to see you and chop it up. What
Yeah,
do you have
no, it's
any?
been great. It's been really great, and glad we could chat. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Any last
it's going
words for the listeners?
well. No, I don't think so. Just
Nothing.
keep doing it. Keep
There you
being
go. Keep
you.
doing it.
Keep believing. I
Keep
don't
being
know.
great. There you go.
Yeah, those are my words. Keep being great.
Are you working today?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not. Oh, that's nice. What are you gonna do?
No clue.
Nice.
Probably call my family.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah,
That'll be
I haven't
fun.
talked to them in a few days.
Well,
So
cool.
that's the plan.
Awesome. Well, Hallie, have fun with that. Good to hear from you
Thanks,
again.
Kev.
And yeah, episode 18 with Hallie Riddick. Been a success. Yeah, glad we could. Sorry again for those technical difficulties. Glad we could get it done. Do it this morning, and first ever morning show will never be forgotten with Hallie. So, so yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and Hallie, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks,
All
Kev.
right, keep
Bye,
doing
y'all.
your thing. Yep, good to see you. All right, good show. Good show. It's interesting what she had to say about her writing process and writing plays and being in Russia and different, being all over the world, really. It's pretty neat. Well, guys, that's pretty much all I've got for today. Again, the first ever morning show with Hallie Riddick, episode 18. We will be actually back next weekend. I've got another busy weekend this weekend. So we'll be back on next weekend's Halloween, isn't it? I'm thinking of doing the show next weekend on Saturday. Because Saturday is Halloween. And my guess for then, I told her that, at the time, I was still doing the show on Saturday. So I think I'm going to shoot for the 31st, will be episode 19. And that'll be cool. That's going to be another really cool guest. So, yeah, everybody, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And, something I forgot to do was give Hallie Riddick a follow on Instagram. She's fresh out of school, like she said. She's on Instagram at Hallie _August. And, yeah, so other than that, Lush Louisville, appreciate everyone tuning in. See y'all on Halloween.